Hola, hola. Bienvenidos a what? Bienvenidos a el miniature mic monologue. I don't know. What's up? Welcome back to the miniature mic monologue. Guys. I was originally going to title this episode It's Not Okay and That's Okay, and I still might. I don't know. But I think this actually goes well with another topic, which is talking about hope, because that's kind of where all of this comes from. Having hope in God, having faith, because we know that faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. It's a scripture reference real early on in the podcast, okay? But hope is at the core of that, and I have struggled recently with getting my hopes up because I think that for a long time in my relationship with Christ in this past season of my life that I'm currently transitioning out of playing volleyball, I would get my hopes up and I tied my hopes to my emotions. And so I would expect to see God do a work in some certain area of my volleyball life or my regular life, and then I wouldn't see it. And then I was on this like emotional roller coaster, and I just felt like, this is not worth it. Like, it's not worth me getting all hooped up about it feeling wise. And I don't know if I have the perfect answer for that. Like, I'm not apathetic. I'm just not like every single time I sit down to pray or I post a YouTube video or I interact with someone, like, I'm not tying my emotions to the possibility of what could be, because I know if God said it, then it will be. But I think a little before I had this idea for a podcast, I was talking to my mom, and she said something to me that has to do with relationship with God, because we know the only way that to please the Lord is to have faith. Another scripture reference. This is my editing brain. My editing brain is thinking about this. But having hope is integral to having faith, and having hope in a world that is full of selfish ambitions and intentional wrongdoing towards others for their own intentional benefit is one of the most frustrating experiences literally on planet Earth. More frustrating than that is the knowledge that you gain after you experience people intentionally making unrighteous decisions and putting themselves above others. The knowledge that you gain as a Christian as to how you could completely hurt and destroy and, demonize them for the decisions that they're making because they're wrong, but you can't because I'm sorry. You can't, because that's not what Christ would do. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying I really want to hurt people's feelings, because really deep down I don't. I'm far too sensitive to be okay or to ever be responsible for hurting someone's feelings, because I know how deep that is. I know what it does to you, and I would never do that. But it does make me angry. And then I direct that anger at the Lord, like, what we doing? Like, what we doing? Because this is making me want to hope for my ability to throw this left hook. You know what I'm saying? And I can't. And you let them walk away. So that's a lot of where this is coming from. And the point that I wanted to make is that my mom basically said this, and I haven't stopped thinking about it. These aren't the exact words. And I had kind of thought about this before. I'm not sure if I've ever said it, but hope or faith, having faith or hoping in the promise that God made or Jesus made when he died and rose from the dead and went back to heaven, that he would go and prepare a place for us to come and be with him and his Father. And the hope that we have to see the things that God has said will come to pass in our life as we have a relationship with him. All of that hope is not fulfilled or checked off the list when those things come to pass, when we finally go to heaven, or when we see the things that God said he would do through us, done through us. Hope is for you and I to get up in the morning and not be overcome by all the things I just talked about. Not be overcome by the evil, not be overcome by the stress, not be overcome by all the ugly parts of humanity that we as humans have chosen to let enter our world and permeate it. Hope is not about getting things. Hope is about the health of the heart in the pursuit of eternal relationship with God. And that's a really hard lesson to learn. And I think the only way to learn it is to hope and hope and hope and hope and hope for something that God said he would bring to you. And then be disappointed multiple times. Maybe it's just me that needed to be disappointed multiple times. Or maybe it's just my fault, period. I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I think the only way to learn that lesson, at least for me, was to have that happen and then realize that, yeah, I was disappointed time and time and time again. I was upset time and time and time and time again. I was annoyed. I was ready to quit. I was ready to do all these things time and time and time and time again. But I still had peace in my heart. I still had joy, and I still wanted to get up in the morning. And I still felt purpose in having conversations with people that hurt me after I've been hurt. And I still found purpose in going to the grocery store. And I can see God now in the ways that I would have never seen him before, that we kind of disregard, that are so mundane. And yeah, I just kind of came to that revelation courtesy of Pastor Copeland. Because as I don't know if I'm not the pastor. She is. All right. Okay. But with all that being said, we're going to get into these frequent experiences that have kind of brought me to that point. I kind of came to the end of the episode at the beginning of the episode, but we're going to talk about a little bit the things that got me to this point, and that I've kind of come to the end of processing, kind of with like closed eyes. Now I'm seeing them with open eyes, I feel like, because it's so much to process when you're feeling it and you're living it and you have to make decisions about it all at once. So let's get into that. Also, my YouTube channel knows this. Go subscribe if you haven't. It's just Jiana Lawson, but the podcast doesn't know it. I got a new phone. I'm recording on my old phone, so this is weird for me because it's all right. Anyways, okay. The first circumstance. So this is like a culmination of all the experiences of like the past life that I've lived. What am I even saying? The season that I'm transitioning out of, which is like playing volleyball full time. That's pretty much all I'm doing. These are frequent themes that I've experienced that really made me want to, kick hope right down into, I can't even think of a place. Oh, it really made me want to stop hoping. It made me want to do things that are bad, that are very bad. And when I say bad, I mean like I wanted to maybe potentially be mean, okay? Maybe potentially. But I never did because I could never do that. Like literally, I am so sensitive and I could never be that mean to someone, but it really made me want to. Okay, so here's the first thing. Little people enabling little people. Listen. Whoo! I empathize with these people. What I don't mean like literally little people who are small and they were born like that. I mean very insecure people that don't deal with their insecurity and get really prideful and haughty about it and make this whole persona up and about them. And then they find other people that also do the same thing. And then they become this joint force of promoting mediocrity and passing it off as excellence, except everyone can see through that. And by everyone, I mean me who was raised by probably the most excellent woman on earth. My mother demanded and we're back. My mother demanded so much of me, and I will never be upset about that because it allowed me to see through people's phoniness. That on top of discernment, like just be who you are. Okay. So this really frustrated me, and it was a constant theme throughout my collegiate career, my volleyball career, especially because we are in the sports industry and there is a lot of ties to rank and status and how good are you and what program were you able to go to and who do you know, and oh, you were only second team, you weren't first team, oh, you were only honorable mention, you weren't even blah blah blah, like all this crap that we tie to our identity that has absolutely positively nothing to do with it, and it drives me bonkers. Like that is probably the most frequent interaction I had. And the thing is, you guys know, obviously I can talk. I like to talk on the pod, but college was a very developmental time for me. And when I'm not in a space where I feel completely safe or completely myself, or I don't necessarily understand my surroundings, I'm not comfortable, I'm still observing, I'm very quiet, okay? I don't talk a lot. I don't talk a lot with my mouth. With my eyes, however, oh, the stories I could tell you that I won't, that I've had with previous coaches, teammates about how, she just kind of looked at me funny. Oh, maybe that's because I caught you in your fourth lie this morning. We're not doing this right now. It is 9:35. Okay? I got up at 7:15 to get my tail here by 7:30 so I could go to treatment for you to lie in my face about some bull crap that has nothing to do with volleyball after I've jumped 78 times in the last 25 minutes. You're going to stand here in this huddle and lie? You're going to lie about the prowess of this player, the blah, blah, blah of this player, because you like them more. I personally will knock you upside your head with a volleyball on my 79th jump. Cut that ish out. Cut it out. Okay? So my conclusion is, if you have an insecurity and you think that pretending that it's not there is going to make it go away, you've literally just put a magnifying glass on it, okay? People can see through it. And it is never, ever the appropriate response to make yourself an image, something attempting to reflect a deity, because you are unwilling to sit in the mirror and face your insecurities. Go sit down somewhere. Okay, this one is a little more personal. We're going to talk about God hindering blessings and / opening doors. Now, I've had very different experiences with this, and there are so many churchy colloquialisms that are like, it just wasn't meant to be, it wasn't God's timing, if it wasn't for you, God has something better. Shut up. See, what I don't appreciate about all of that colloquialism crap is that it dismisses the feelings that you have about having a completely rational expectation on action that the Lord said that he would do, and then not saying it done. And you're just saying, it's okay, don't feel that way because God is still God. Right. That has nothing to do. That never has and never will have anything to do with the fact that my feelings are hurt. Because I'm looking at this guy who's my father, who says he's my father, who sent his son to die for me, who loves me, who wants to spend every waking minute of my day with me, who stays up all day and all night, in reference to us because he don't have day and night, praying and interceding for me at the Father. And then he said he was going to do this thing, and I thought he was going to do it, and he didn't do it. And you're telling me, just trust the Lord. Shut up, Susie. Shut up. Don't tell me that. Let me be upset. Let me go to my Father who said, I will never leave you nor forsake you, and be like, what's this? What's this? That is my biggest problem with that, other than the fact that you have to learn that you really are not in control of anything. And I have learned to take so much pride in the fact that God delayed the blessings or opening doors, whatever you want to call it, that he's had for me. He has delayed performing on his word because it lets me know that I haven't deceived myself into pursuing something that God hasn't really called me to, because there is no way on God's green earth that it would have taken this long if he wasn't in it. And that's just my experience. There can be, and there probably will be, a situation where it's taking as long it has taken for me and even longer, and you are in the wrong. I'm just saying, because I've gone to God for confirmation multiple times that I'm in the right spot. I've heard it from other people, so I get it. But I have learned to thank God and be grateful that he's delaying me, because it means that he's still with me, instead of being upset that it hasn't happened, because I still can get up and I can, like, he's still providing for me. I can still get up and eat. I can still get up and walk. I still get up and I feel his presence. I can talk to him. I can read his word. Like, that is the bigger picture for me, because my number one fear is doing something, being somewhere, and being in it and doing it successfully in the eyes of people and being out of alignment. Ooh, keep that away from me. Keep that away from me. So I've learned to view that as a little bit more of a, hey, it's okay, and that is okay, even though this episode is about it's not okay, and that's okay. Okay, I think this is the last one that I have. And the last one I said was personal. This one is like deeply personal, but I don't really have any super strong emotions attached to it. I say that now, and then I'm going to start crying in the next 5 minutes. Hopefully not. But I think, kind of very much on the same lines of what I just talked about, I have the best mom ever, okay? And she has been an integral part in my ability to sustain my confidence and to sustain my faith and my hope. Like, she has always encouraged me to feel my feelings and to not diminish them, which has been pivotal in ushering in this shift in my relationship with the Lord that I'm still going in and now doing. But something that is not okay, I think, just in general, because it's a little dehumanizing, and that's what's not okay about it. Being in a space with these little people and encountering opposing agendas that have to do with status and wealth, and really don't put the person at the forefront of any interaction, business, team, whatever. Especially as someone who is sensitive, having to be in this constant state of reminding myself that even though my value in sport, relationship, and as a human may not be outwardly recognized, has nothing to do with it being there. That is an extremely painful experience, I think, because you're surrounded by all these people on a team, and you never feel, or I, at certain points in time, had never felt more alone than in my entire life, and I'm an only child. Like, okay? So it is not the most reassuring experience, and the environment also wasn't conducive to that, because we're competing, playing the sport of volleyball, but we're also competing to get a starting role, right? So it's even a more cutthroat layer of that. And then when you're trying to win, it's an even more cutthroat layer, because it's like, oh, you made a mistake? Forget all that. Make mistakes. Trust the process. Get out the game. You know what I'm saying? Which I didn't really have coaches that were like that, so it's fine. But still, you feel that pressure and you feel that stress at any and all times as an athlete. But yeah, that, I don't, it's like, it's deep down. Like, that is a very woeful feeling to be like, oh, these people don't care if I live or die. Like, you know, like not that extreme. Like, these people would rather be seen in a certain way than consider that they're not the only ones that have feelings. And in that way, it kind of feels like they don't care if I live or die, because there's a spiritual aspect to it that's like, that is spiritually crushing. It's emotionally draining, and it's not something that you want to ever experience. And I think that that has been the hardest for me to cope with, because I'm like, I would never, ever do that to anyone else intentionally, ever. Like, I'm very self-aware. I've talked about it before. So I am aware 99% of the time of when I'm doing something and the intention behind it. And the 1% that I'm not, I am immediately extremely apologetic, because, as I said, I'm a sensitive girl. So I would never do anything to anyone, especially as it relates to something that is as heavily vested in their lives as sport, you know, when it comes to getting honors and recognitions. And it's really not the big stuff like the AVCA All-American. We already know that the second team thing was a big fat joke. But like, it's the little things, like the things that aren't said in the locker room, or the things that aren't said between coach and player. And in my experience, it's all been very intentional. Like, they knew what I would have liked to hear because I had communicated it, and I still didn't get it. So it's like, okay, like, ow, but like, I got to keep showing up. And then it turns into this long overdue, I should have said this. Everyone knows you should have said that. Like, literally everyone knows. And because you haven't, it's now created this awkward space with this imbalance in the dynamic that you are responsible for, and I now have to cope with. You know, like, it's not a pleasant experience. I've obviously had this experience more than once with coaches, with teammates, and it's just like, gosh, I never want to be, like, that's the kind of stuff that makes you never want to be on a team again, like, ever. And I do want to be on a team again. I do, but it's like I don't know how that specifically will play out when I go back to playing volleyball, but it's not fun and it's not right. And I just think that if you're going to develop a system of recognition in any industry, it needs to be as objective as possible. Meet this, and this, and you get recognized. Because when you allow politics to get into it, personal influence, like, you are destroying people's will and desire to get better. Like, sometimes that helps people get better, like all these other things. And you're just flat out, you're being a jerk, and you know that you're doing it, and you know you should be recognizing everyone to the same level, to the best of your ability, because it's not going to be 100% perfect all the time. We all know that. But it's like blatantly not recognizing someone that is busting their tail and doing top tier work. Yeah, I'm talking about me. Okay. Because it's not cocky, it's just the truth. Like, I gave everything I had. I played volleyball like I was playing for God for these last 5 years. 5 years. And I know I did. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, it's humble for me to tell the truth. Okay. So that kind of stuff, like, don't do that. Just don't do that. Because if it weren't for literally the Lord, him and me in relationship, and him giving me my mother effing mother, I don't know what I'd be doing right now. Because that's the kind of stuff that kills the inner person, makes them not want to do anything ever, makes them not want to get involved with anybody ever. And it's like, I just hope that you know that that's not okay, and it's not okay. Okay? I intentionally tried to tie that in, and then I'm like, that's such a bad pun. It's so bad. It's so bad. Anyways, I keep dropping this paper. I don't even know why it came out. That's it. That's all I have for this episode. Like I said, I kind of came to the conclusion of this episode at the beginning of this episode, so a little weird. It's fine though. And I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope that you took something from it. I did my best to share my personal experience without like putting names and faces and stuff like that because it's nobody's business. But if it's to let somebody else know that they're not alone, great. If it's for whatever reason God has purposed it, even better. And if it's helped you kind of compartmentalize something or prepare you for going to play college athletics or a big corporate job or whatever, I hope that it has achieved that purpose. And you also laughed because I know a lot of people laugh at the way that I naturally process things. Like, I think I'm a little funny, but 9 times out of 10 or 8 times out of 10, people are laughing at my real live reactions and responses to real life. Like on the floor, cackling, rolling, and I'm like, so funny. So funny. They're like, oh my gosh, stop it. Stop it. Like, how do you come up with this? I'm like, I didn't. They acted the fool and I responded. Yeah. Anyways, that's it. I will see you guys in the next episode. I don't know how I end these. So, bling blow again, mother trucker. Yeah, we're going to do this. Okay, bye. Bye.